Hello and welcome. You've probably seen it 100 times on an assignment, the word compare. And if you've ever felt that tiny bit of panic, wondering what your teacher actually wants, well, you are not alone. Today, we're going to demystify this whole thing and turn it into your secret weapon for writing absolutely killer essays. Right? It seems so simple, but it's one of those words that can trip people up. What are they really asking for? Are you just supposed to dump a list of facts about two things on the page? Is it some kind of trick question? Nope, not at all. But there is a specific formula for success, and we're going to break it down right now. So, first things first, let's get on the exact same page as your instructors. We're going to unpack the official academic meaning of compare, so there's absolutely no more guesswork. Okay, here's the textbook definition. Now, notice the key words here. It's not just about listing things. It's about examining, identifying, and this is the most important part, showing that you understand the relationship between them. How do they connect? That's the real magic right there. But let's boil it down even more, okay? At its absolute core, when you're asked to compare, you're just answering two big questions. How are these things alike, and how are they different? Seriously, if you can build your entire analysis around answering those two questions and you back it up with evidence, you are 90% of the way to an amazing grade. All right, so now we know what it means. Let's get into the how. I'm going to walk you through a super simple step-by-step playbook that you can use for pretty much any comparison assignment. Think of this as your roadmap to success. And here it is, the 5 critical steps. You start by clearly identifying what you're comparing. Obvious, right? But then, and this is so important, you select the criteria you'll use. You can't just compare random things. Then you explain your points, you organize it all logically, and you finish with a powerful conclusion. Easy. Now, before we get to the really pro-level stuff, let's talk about what not to do. Knowing these common traps is kind of like getting the answers to the test beforehand. If you can just sidestep these simple mistakes, your analysis will instantly be stronger. These are the big 4 pitfalls. First, you got to talk about both things. I mean, it's a comparison. Second, don't just list facts. You have to explain why they matter. Third, remember that comparing means similarities too, not just differences. If you only do differences, that's called contrasting, a whole different assignment. And finally, always back up your points with evidence, not just what you think. Okay, you know what to do, you know what to avoid. Now let's talk structure. How you organize your points can literally be the difference between a pretty good analysis and a truly great one. Let's look at the 2 main ways the pros do it. So, you've basically got 2 options. There's the block method, where you talk about everything to do with item A, and then you talk about everything to do with item B. It's simple, sure, but it can feel a little disconnected, like you wrote 2 separate mini essays. But then you've got the point-by-point method. This is where you take one criterion at a time and discuss both items together under that point before moving on. And here's the big insider secret. Your teachers, your markers, they almost always prefer the point-by-point method. Why? Because it forces you to create a really clear, direct, and sophisticated comparison in every single paragraph. It's just a tighter analysis. So, when in doubt, go point by point. All this theory is great, but let's make it crystal clear with a real-world example. Imagine your assignment is to compare traditional classroom learning with online learning. See how this table lays it all out? This is the point-by-point structure in action. So instead of talking all about traditional learning and then all about online, you'd write one paragraph on interaction, covering both. Then you'd write a new paragraph on flexibility, covering both again. Then another one on cost. See? You're constantly weaving the 2 subjects together, which makes your analysis incredibly focused and strong. Phew, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's pull all this together into one final cheat sheet. These are the absolute must-remember takeaways for your next comparison assignment. All right, here's your final checklist. 1, analyze. Don't just list. And remember, that means similarities and differences. 2, use clear criteria to guide you. 3, structure is everything, so go point by point for maximum impact. 4, back everything up with evidence. And 5, nail the landing with a conclusion that shows some real insight. If you can tick all these boxes, you're golden. So the next time you see that word compare on an assignment, you'll know exactly what to do. The question isn't whether you can do it, it's about how you're going to use these tools to build a truly compelling and insightful analysis. You've got this.